Josh Price is one of two Democrats running for the Secretary of State position and is challenging the current incumbent John Thurston. And he joins us on 4029 News On the Record now. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your background and yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I am a Arkansas native, grew up in a small town called Delight, Arkansas, down in southwest Arkansas. I was born in Nashville. My father is a small business owner from Delight. He actually owned the only gas station and grocery store in town. And my mom is a nurse from the Philippines that was recruited to work in the United States in the 1970s because there were a lack of nurses in Arkansas and other rural parts of the country. A little bit about my background. I've worked for a couple federal agencies with the Delta Regional Authority under a presidential appointee under Barack Obama. And I also worked as the public information officer for the state of Arkansas for the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. And during that time, we helped 62,000 businesses get loans and grants, PPP, all those things during COVID and during the pandemic. But the most important job I'd say I've had the last few years is I was an election commissioner in Pulaski County for 2 terms. And during that time, I saw some, let's just say some things I didn't like, some things that kind of angered me a little bit about ways votes were being handled and the way votes were being tossed out, especially from seniors, people with disabilities, and even active military. So I'm running for Secretary of State to protect that Arkansans' right to vote and make sure that everyone can make it to the polls and make their voice heard and that their vote will be counted.
All right, well, Josh, could you tell us a little bit the details about what you saw that you didn't like? You said that some votes were being thrown out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arkansas, unfortunately, is dead last in our nation in voter registration at 63%, dead last in voter turnout at 54%, number 1 in rejection of mail-in ballots at 6.4%. Almost every other state in the United States is 1% or less. So Arkansas is really up there as far as throwing out absentee ballots. And again, these are primarily coming from seniors, people with disabilities, and active military. 1,500 ballots in Pulaski County alone were tossed out for these very reasons. And it's mostly due to things like a missing apartment number, but everything else is correct. ID is in there too. Missing zip code, even though everything else is correct. Someone signed J. Price instead of Joshua Price, so they just didn't sign their full name. And then also inconsistencies with signatures, mostly from seniors due to age or illness. We even had an 85-year-old woman who had a massive stroke. She had a letter from her husband and a letter from her doctor, and both letters were notarized explaining her medical condition, but her vote was thrown out anyway because her signature was quote-unquote too shaky. So these are the types of things that really angered me. These are everyday hardworking Arkansans that have been voting for decades, and now suddenly, because of some changes in the laws, their votes are being tossed out without any regard. And unfortunately, Arkansas is one of a handful of states that does not have a cure period or a time when voters can come in and correct minor issues on their ballot. So unfortunately, in Arkansas, if you forget to dot an I or cross a T, your vote could very well be rejected.
All right, in your opinion, what is one of the most important duties of the Secretary of State? Is it to get more people to the polls? I saw that you mentioned that in your campaign video.
Yes, so the chief responsibility of the Secretary of State, as per the Arkansas Constitution, is to serve as Chief Elections Officer. So you're in charge of voter registration, voter rolls, maintaining those, providing the policies to the poll workers and to the 75 counties for the Election Commission so that they could trickle that down. You're also serving as the chair of the State Board of Election Commissioners. So this is a very much elections-heavy role. And I always say, if we don't have free, fair, and accessible elections, what else do we have? This is how we elect our representatives that are going to stand there for us at the Capitol and make our voices heard. This is how we vote on issues on the ballot. So if we can't have a faith or trust that we're having a fair and accessible and secure system, then we really don't have a democracy. So this is a very, very important position. I think it's kind of slid under the radar in the years past, but it's really come to the forefront because of course, national news on election integrity and protecting our voting rights. And that's what I want to do in this position, just make sure that we get out of that last place slot for voter registration and turnout. Arkansas deserves better, and I think every Arkansan, if you're 18 and up and you're a U.S. citizen, you have the right to vote and make sure your voice is going to be heard.
How do you handle those concerns from people who do not trust the election system, and then from those people who say that the newer voting laws are not necessarily fair and hurting them?
Right, that's a great question. So after my time as an election commissioner, actually during my time as an election commissioner, I testified at the Capitol in the last legislative session. There were several bills that were coming down the pipeline that I felt were voter suppression, that were making it harder for Arkansans to vote. One in particular was SB 485, which would have removed early voting on the day before the election. So that Monday right before the election is the most popular early voting day. About 58,000 people across the state vote on that day, 8,000 in Pulaski County alone. So to remove that day after it's been placed for 25 years just really didn't make any sense to me. So we managed to, I testified against it 4 times. It kept coming back. It was actually called the zombie bill because it kept dying and coming back. But we eventually got it killed on the last day of the session. But it's bills like those and other ones where there's a new bill that was, it was thrown out by Judge Griffin in Pulaski County along with 3 others, but it was upheld by the Supreme Court. I testified against those as well. One is that you can't have snacks or water at the polls. Again, that affects the elderly. That affects people with disabilities that are waiting in long lines. Your signature now has to be matched to your original signature when you turned 18. I don't know about you. I'm 42. My signature doesn't look like it did when I was 18, and how much so if you're 75 or 80. Having a photo ID, that's the law, and that's great, but accessibility. The #1 group that doesn't have photo IDs in Arkansas are seniors that are living in assisted living facilities because they no longer drive. So these are the types of things we need to tackle as in this position as Secretary of State, closing any gap, stopping any obstacle that's making it hard for people to vote, and making sure they can get to the polls and make their voice heard. And if they feel like they're not having obstacles to stop them from voting, I think that will create more faith in the system.
All right, Josh Price, we're going to be back in just 2 minutes with more questions here on 4029 News on the Record. Once again, the Democrat running for Secretary of State here in Arkansas, Josh Price. Thanks for joining us.